Bhutale Devi Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ki Jai Shri Shri Nitai Gauranga Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Welcome everyone for the Friday evening session on Bhagavad Gita. As it is, we are discussing from third chapter overview. This is the third session. We have discussed until now up to verse number 8. The third chapter is titled Karma Yoga, or more specifically, Prabhupada explains at the end of this chapter. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purpose to the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of Karma Yoga, or the discharge of one's prescribed duty in Krishna consciousness. Okay, there's one more chapter on Karma Yoga, chapter 5. There is a difference. That chapter 5, called Karma Yoga or action in Krishna consciousness. So there's a difference. Sometimes people have this question. Two chapters on Karma Yoga. Why same name? There's a difference. Okay. So this chapter is actually discharge of one's prescribed duties in Krishna consciousness. Whereas chapter 5 is the advanced version. Action in Krishna consciousness. That is also called Karma Yoga. But again, it's advanced action. It's like when you enter a school, admission into a school, first standard also is called a student. 10th standard also, student only. Right? But the level of maturity, level of understanding is different. Right? Likewise, this third chapter is like the very beginning, very basic. This you have to do, prescribed duty, which means this is some duties which you have to perform. And those duties have to be performed in Krishna consciousness. Means forcibly you have to do. Because right now we are not used to. Whereas when you more become accustomed to doing it regularly, then you have to elevate your understanding, intelligence, consciousness to next level. Then you have to action in Krishna consciousness. I'll give a very simple example. When you were introduced to Krishna consciousness, you are told, chant Hare Krishna. Right? That time you are not told any rules, regulations. Just simply chant, and possible here. That much was told. But as you move forward, you came to know that while chanting, you have to actually hear every word of the mantra. Right? Every mantra has to be heard properly, clearly. And you have to improve the quality of chanting. This is advanced chanting. That chanting, beginning also is chanting. Advanced chanting with feelings for Krishna also is chanting. But there's a difference. Right? Beginners chanting and advanced chanting. And still more advanced chanting, Rupa Goswami says, when I chant your name Krishna, it's so sweet that my 2 ears are not enough to hear. My one tongue is not enough. If I have millions of tongues and trillions of ears, then I can relish the taste of holy name. It's very advanced level of chanting. Right? That is what it means. So this is the difference between prescribed duty. Duty means I have to do. Whether I like it or not, I have to do. Whereas when you become advanced, naturally, spontaneously you want to do. That's what Krishna explains later. And as you move forward in this whole Bhagavad Gita's discussions, we'll see how Krishna gradually moves forward with regard to next levels of devotion. Okay, so let's begin our discussions from third chapter. The third chapter is titled Karma Yoga, Prescribed Duty in Krishna Consciousness. This chapter begins with question of Arjuna with regard to what is that specifically he has to do, because he has heard so many instructions from Krishna. So looks like he has got confused whether I have to engage in this war, which is ghastly warfare, Ghora Karmana, right? Ghora Karmani, or I have to perform only bhakti. Now, what is that I am supposed to do? That was the question. So Arjuna said, I'm totally confused. Please tell me very clearly what I should do. So Krishna started telling, actually, I have already explained to you, there are two paths for self-realization. One is the Jnana Marga, empirical process, Jnana Yogena Sankhyana. One more is Karma Yogena Yogina. Right? And there are two paths for this realization of self. Why does Krishna say this? Because Arjuna seems to have confused with Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and regular work, all these things. So he's trying to carefully discriminate. And basically Krishna is telling both these paths are leading to the ultimate goal, but one is indirect, one more is direct. And Krishna also mentions that sometimes people think that taking to spirituality means giving up everything. That is renouncing everything, sannyasa. That doesn't give you any perfection, abruptly giving up everything. And also, not performing your duty or running away from a duty, also, not that you'll be free from reaction. Krishna mentions that in 4th verse. Why Krishna says that is that because next he explains, all of us by nature as spirit soul are active every moment. That is our nature. If we are not active in Krishna consciousness, we will be forced to be active in the material field. So Prabhupada says, it is good that if you can engage ourselves in the purified activities of Krishna consciousness, it is actually the activity of the soul. And Krishna also wants to further explain to Arjuna that there are people who make a show of spirituality. Externally, they show off as though they are big spiritualists by their dress, by their talks, by their behavior. But their mind and their consciousness is absorbed in sense gratification. Right? Any opportunity for sense gratification, they'll just try to grab it. Such people who is making a show of spirituality, Prabhupada shows them, tells them as bluff. They are sufficient. They are all cheaters, great cheaters. They're making a show of a yogi. Krishna calls them as mithyachari, pretender. So spirituality is not a matter of making a show. So Krishna very clearly mentions that you perform your prescribed duties better and work in a way that you're not attached to the fruits of the work. This is better than simply making a show of spirituality. As Prabhupada says, don't become a pseudo-transcendentalist or a charlatan meditator. Charlatan meditator means a fraud or imposter or a fake. This is not what Krishna wants to Krishna doesn't want Arjuna to do this because Arjuna wanted to take sannyasa, become a spiritualist, right? So Krishna says, don't become a show-off meditator. Sometimes people want to show as though they have become a renounced person. So Krishna's advice is, don't simply make a show. Be honest and sincere in your work. Prabhupada says, a sincere sweeper in the street is far better than a imposter, spiritualist, who simply makes a show for living. That is not proper. Prabhupada gives example of in his household lifetime. He used to tell that there were people in Calcutta that every day at one time they would come out of their house with wearing a saffron dress and dressed like a sannyasi and go out for begging. Again in the evening they are back to their normal dress and doing all nonsense. It is not a way of it's not, sannyasa is not a profession, or spirituality is not a profession. So the modern society feels that this is simply a show off. Even though they're genuine people, genuine sadhus, they take it that, oh, they're all fake. They're all, cheaters. Let's come to that level. Anyway, so this is what Krishna has warned already in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna recommends that you perform your prescribed duty. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Right. So this chapter means, is specifying or stressing on perform your prescribed duty. And how do you do prescribed duty? Prescribed duty should be done in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means anything you do as per the rules, regulations of scriptures, which will further enhance your understanding in Krishna consciousness, and you perform them based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. That's what Krishna wants to recommend us. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you have to perform your duty. Not performing your duty is actually, you can't even maintain your body. Right? So this is the recommendation Krishna has given to Arjuna so far. The so-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by Lord, nor any religious scripture. Right? So work cannot be given up whimsically. Rather, you can become a sannyasi, of course, but with proper step-by-step process as per the Bhagavad Gita. Right? That is what Krishna recommends here. Now, from verse 9, which we're going to start discussion today, Krishna recommends a very wonderful process, which he goes on to further elaborate on this in the later chapters. Yes, work has to be done as a prescribed duty. And why this work has to be done as per prescribed duty? Why? Because in the material world, when we have come in contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires three gunas, or three modes of nature. They come in contact with three modes. So three modes make us to act, think, function in a particular fashion. So one who is predominantly in the mode of goodness works in one way. One who is predominantly in the mode of passion works in one way. One who is having a mix of passion and ignorance works in one more way. And one completely in ignorance works in one more way. So like this, the modes influence a person to act in a specific way. Material world means we are influenced by the modes. That's why the recommendation in the Bhagavad Gita is that in order to purify the such tendencies of the soul to act in a act on the based on the modes of nature, these affinities which a soul develops, it is necessary to engage the living entity in a prescribed duty. Just like one in the mode of goodness, they are known as Brahmanas. So Brahmanas have specific duties. Again, Brahmana is not a caste. Brahmana is the predominant mode of nature which is found in your psyche. That's what it is. So based on that, you are supposed to perform certain duties. Like a Kshatriya is supposed to perform certain duties. That is what Krishna explains in the 18th chapter later on. But right now, let us understand prescribed duties given to specific section of societies, Varna Ashrama, is not very practical in Kali Yuga. So Krishna recommends a very revolutionary system from this verse onwards. He introduces the concept of yajna. Okay, so this verse number 9, I hope everybody has kept your copy of Bhagavad Gita in front of you. Verse number 9 is talking about yajna. Krishna says, yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangaha samachara. So this yajna arthat means work only for the sake of yajna. Yajna means, one meaning of yajna is Vishnu. One more meaning is sacrificial performance. Like people think yajna means fire yajna, right? Whatever it is, in the fire yajna also, whatever is offered, it is offered to Vishnu only, Krishna only. Okay, so yajna, Krishna's another name is yajna. Vishnu another name is yajna. Yajnarthat karmano anyatra. Any activity, karma, you do, which is not meant for the satisfaction of yajna, that will be the cause of your bondage. Lokoyam karma bandhanaha. Very important principle, which is explained throughout the Geeta in different contexts. This verse is very important. This verse, Prabhupada says, this is the art of doing work, great art of doing work. How we should do our work. Any activity you are doing, you understand that whether this activity is satisfying Krishna or not. Right? Because Krishna says here, if you don't do like this, activity satisfying Krishna, it will bind you. Karma bandhanaha. Karma bandhana means repeated birth and death. So Krishna is recommending tadartham karma kaunteya. Therefore, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction only. Whose satisfaction? Yajna satisfaction, Vishnu satisfaction only. And by doing this, what happens? Mukta Sangha Samachara. You will always remain Mukta Sangha. You always remain liberated or free from all bondage. A very wonderful understanding Krishna is giving. The easy way for us to remain always liberated, even in this life. So, any activity which is going to please Vishnu or Krishna, that activity only should perform. How do you know which activity I should do which will please Krishna? Prabhupada says, we have to take direction from the bona fide spiritual master. This requires expert guidance. It's a great art of work because people don't know what to do, what not to do. People are mostly working for their own satisfaction, either personal satisfaction or extended self-satisfaction. Me and mine. My body and my extensions of the body. My family, my wife, my children, my husband, my friends and relatives, for their satisfaction. That is what everybody thinks we have to work for. But here Krishna recommends very clearly, if you do like that, without keeping Krishna in the center, that is going to be a great cause of bondage for you. Karma bandhana. Karma bandhana means you get entangled. So much entangled that it will continue your material existence. If you want to become Mukta Sangha, you want to become free from bondage, then act under the guidance of expert guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada very nicely explains. One should act very diligently under the expert guidance of a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. It's very important instruction which Krishna is giving us here. Nothing should be performed for sense gratification. I like it, so I want to do it. No. Whether the activity, what I'm going to do, activity means not only physical activity, it can be verbal, that is also activity. It can be mental, right? So, physical, mental, verbal, called kaya, vacha, manasa. All activities should be done for satisfaction of Krishna. And what to do, how to do, Prabhupada is giving the directions. That's how we are supposed to perform our life. Everything should be done for the satisfaction of Krishna. This practice, Prabhupada says, will save us from the reaction of work, but this will save us from the reaction of work, but also will gradually elevate our existence to transcendental loving service. It means pure bhakti level will be elevating ourselves. And finally, Krishna confirms when you do activities like this, later on in 11th chapter, we'll see, towards the end of 11th chapter, Krishna says, Mat karma krin mat varamo. Mat karma krin means always working for me. Krishna karma. Considering me to be the supreme, mat paramo. Like this, mad bhakta sangavarditaha. Become my devotee and give up all other bad associations. Nirvaira, Krishna says, give up all your enviousness. So this point is repeated again and again in the Bhagavad Gita throughout, in different contexts for us to make us understand it is so important. Working for the satisfaction of Krishna. I am chanting not for my satisfaction. I am chanting for Krishna's satisfaction. I am reading Bhagavad Gita not for my satisfaction. Reading Bhagavad Gita for Krishna's satisfaction. Prabhupada's satisfaction. Right? This mentality, this type of a understanding will take us to the next level of spiritual elevation. Okay, so let's move to the next verse. Verse number 10. Krishna further explains on the aspect of yajna further. How this yajna performance was introduced in the creation from the very beginning of the creation. Krishna says, Sahayagna prajashishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam eshavostvishta kamad. So, Krishna is telling, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of creatures, Prajapati. Lord Krishna also is known as Prajapati because from him only all the other Prajapatis have come up. Prajapati means, Praja means living entities. Pati means the master, one who generates those living entities. Just like Brahma is one Prajapati. From him, many other Prajapatis have come, like Daksha, all the great sages, Marichi, Bhrigu. They're all called Prajapatis. They're called progenitors of mankind. Right? From them only many, humankind and all the other living entities have been born. Kashyapa Muni. They're all called Prajapatis. So, Krishna says, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifices for Vishnu. Which means this yajna is not something new. Along with creation, it was come as a package to the material world. This was given why? Krishna says that it was given to the entire creation, to all the living entities, so that living entities can perform this yajna. Anena prasavishyadvam, so that they can get all the prosperity, all the desirable things, whatever they want from this material world, they can get and they can go on in their life. Very nicely Prabhupada explains. Why is this material world created? What is the purpose of material creation? Material world is a chance, Prabhupada says, offered to the conditioned souls to prepare themselves to come back to spiritual world, go back home, back to Godhead. Very nice understanding. Because many times we are confused. Why this material world? Why was it created? It's created for us to give an opportunity to prepare ourselves to come back to spiritual world, because we originally belong to spiritual world. It's like telling, why is there a jail in a town or a city? Because there will be some people who will disobey the standard laws of the government, because of which jail is required to rectify them, to again bring them back to sanity, so they understand their mistake and they become normal citizens. Similarly, this material world is a jail, prison house for all of us who have revolted against Krishna. So the arrangement is made such a way that we understand what is the purpose of this creation, why am I here, what I am supposed to be doing, and where I have to go further. If we don't understand this and simply continue our material existence, life after life, we are only continuing our prison life. Prabhupada says, we are changing from one prison cell to another prison cell. Means one body to another body. From C-class prison, I come to A-class prison. Wow. It's like when people say, no, from sleeper class, I came to AC coach. Again, it's a prison only. Not just the standard of prison is improved, that's all. If ordinary prison, you come to a very nice AC coach prison, what is the difference? Just like sometimes VVIPs are put in some prison, wherein there is television, AC, everything. But again, it's a prison. So, starting from Brahma up to Patala Loka, living entities, all are in different prisons. Don't think that, oh, if I go to America, I'll be very free. Oh, if I go to Chandraloka, oh, very nice enjoyment. I go to Indraloka, heaven, Swarga, I can dance with Apsaras. No. That is also prison only. But that prison has more facilities of enjoyment, that's all. So that is what Krishna says. Brahma Bhuvana Loka, Punaravartino. Starting from Brahma Loka to Patala Loka, all are places of repeated birth and death. Right? So, all of us have right now forgotten Krishna. Krishna Bhuliya Jiva. Can anybody complete this statement? Krishna Bhuliya Jiva. Then? Next line.
Krishna Bhuliya Jiva Bhagavancha Kare Nikatastha Maya Japtiya Dhare.
Wow, very nice. Excellent. Krishna Bhuliya Jiva Bhagavancha Kare Nikatastha Maya Dhare Japtiya Dhare. When living entity forgets Krishna, because Krishna is actually part and parcel of Krishna, the servant of Krishna, what happens? You want to enjoy independently. Compare with one person who want to violate government rules. I want to do on my own way, whatever I want. What happens? Police uncle is waiting. Right? Immediately he'll capture you. So Maya is ready to capture us. Nikatastha Maya Dhare Japatiya Dhare. Maya will capture us and punish by giving us one. Just like when you go to prison, you are given one dress with a number. Right? This number, this is the number of the prison number is this for you. Prisoner's number is this. Like that, Maya will give one body to you. Prisoner's body. That's what has happened to us. So, the Vedic principles and the different arrangements Krishna has made is just to make us understand all these things. It's a nice statement in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while he is describing to Sanatana Goswami why Vedic literatures are there, he explains Maya Mugdha Jivera Nahi Swatha Krishna Gyan. We are so much Maya Mugdha, completely absorbed in Maya. So much so that we think I am this body, my body the extension for everything, this life is everything for me. Maya Mugdha Jivera Nahi Swatha Krishna Gyan. Jivera Kripaya Kaila Krishna Veda Puran. For Jiva's deliverance, Krishna has given Veda Puran. That is the reason, that is the purpose. So, Krishna has given us this Bhagavad Geeta, Bhagavata, Upanishads, Puranas, everything, so that we can understand what is the purpose of life. The purpose of Vedas is to know Krishna. Later on, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedeshcha sarvair ahameva vedyaha. So like this, the whole Vedic literature is aiming to make us understand that we are spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, our actual existence in the spiritual world. We are not supposed to rot in this material world. We are rotting actually. We have forgotten Krishna and rotting. Right? Prabhupada uses this word. So, in order to facilitate our liberation from this material world, the Lord, after He created this material world and put us in this material world because we didn't want to serve Krishna, He also has given us activities known as yajna. Yajna means sacrifice, which means activities to be performed for satisfaction of Krishna. Why this arrangement is made? So that while living in the material world, we can live very comfortably. That's what Krishna says in this verse. Anena prasavishyadvam. All the desirable things, whatever you want, you can achieve by performance of yajna. So you can have an anxiety-free life. This life you can be happy. Otherwise, if you don't do yajna, you will be suffering. Right now in the material world, why there is scarcity, there are concepts of overpopulation, all these things, because people are not performing yajna. People are doing all nonsense. If they simply perform yajna, Prabhupada says, Krishna will supply profusely. That's the whole point. So, in this Kali Yuga especially, Prabhupada explains, the easiest performance of yajna is Sankirtana yajna. Generally, there are many recommendations of yajna in the ordinary course of life. Especially, you're all householders, grahasthas. There's something known as Panchashuna yajna. Because with our every dealing, there are so many wrong things we go on doing. If you drink a glass of water, there's so many bacteria which we drink off and kill them. If we light a matchstick, some air bacteria are killed. Right? When you use a mixie, churn something, some entities get killed. When you're walking, some ants are fully, nicely smashed. Chutney ban jata hai. Right? Like this, so many things we do knowingly, unknowingly. For that, grahasthas are supposed to perform what is known as Panchashuna Mahayajna, which we are not doing. Right? Like this, there are so many grahastha dharmas. Before you have your food, you have to go out and call, is anybody hungry? 3 times you have to loudly shout in the street. No response comes, then you have to come and eat. If you're simply eating without doing this, then you're committing a sin. As a grahastha, you're supposed to feed those who are hungry. Like this, there are so many recommendations. All these recommendations in Kali Yuga are not easy. Not only that, Bhagavata says, as grahasthas, you're supposed to feed even the lizards, cockroaches in your house, with snakes if they are there. Let's see. You should be so liberal. Prabhupada tells story about his grandfather, how he was running a cloth shop, cloth merchant. Every day night, he used to keep a bowl of some grains in the middle of the shop and then close the shop and come. Why? Because in the night, the rats in the shop will not simply damage the cloth. They will simply eat the food, what is kept in the middle of the shop. Just see. Which means grihasthas are supposed to take care of every living entity, whoever is in his vicinity. That is the responsibility. And you should be very careful not to kill anybody, even including germs, ants, and other entities. So, lot of recommendations are there. Lot of yajnas you are supposed to perform. Yajna means sacrifice for Vishnu. Agnihotra sacrifice, then Vajpaya sacrifice. Many recommendations are there, innumerable. But all of them doing in Kali Yuga, people first of all don't know what is to be done, what is not to be done. The easiest process which is introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that which everybody can perform, which is equivalent to having the same effect of all yajnas, all rituals, all sacrifices, all the Vedic understanding, is Sankirtana Yajna. Prabhupada says the Sankirtana Yajna was personally inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Krishna incarnated in this Kali Yuga as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with all his associates, and one who is intelligent will take up this process of yajna. So Prabhupada explains in the end of this purport of this verse, other yajnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtana Yajna is the easy and sublime for all purposes. So many other yajnas are there, recommendations are there. For that, you should be qualified to chant mantras, you're supposed to perform, make many other arrangements. It's not easy. So Kali Yuga, the easiest and the sublime process is chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, Sankirtana Yajna. So we have understood Krishna is suggesting a very revolutionary concept in Bhagavad Gita, the concept of yajna, which is there in Vedic literatures but not so obviously mentioned. So in Kali Yuga especially, this Sankirtana Yajna is so important that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, again came 500 years ago to preach this. And this introduction of yajna is from the very beginning of creation. Why? Because this creation is meant for us to prepare ourselves to go back to spiritual world, a chance given to us. That is the purpose of this creation. And along with the creation, these yajnas are there, and the most important yajna for Kali Yuga is Sankirtana, which all of us have to perform for our own liberation. In fact, Krishna mentions here, even to get our necessities of life, you have to perform our yajna, perform the Sankirtana yajna. Okay. Next, verse number 11. Krishna explains further about these yajnas, why yajnas have to be performed, all these things. Devan bhavayata nena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreha param avapsyatha. So Devan means demigods, devatas. Devatas will be pleased by performance of sacrifices. When you perform sacrifices, devatas will be pleased, and when they are pleased, they will also please you. Like this, there is a very wonderful, harmonious, understanding and cooperation between devatas and human beings, and this will make everybody prosperous. Krishna is telling, Shreya param avapsita, will make prosperous and also move forward in your spiritual journey. So here in Prabhupada is explaining to us, what is the role of these devatas? Who are these devatas? And why should we please devatas? Right? So, devatas are like, they are the, Prabhupada says, are empowered administrators of material affairs. Just like, Prabhupada gives an example of, you go to municipality office, there will be so many departments. Water department, current department, that department, this department, sewage department, then cleaning department, so many departments, and every department will have a head. And all these heads have to report to commissioner. Likewise, in this whole universal management, there are different departments. Water department, light department, air department, like this. And all these departments are headed by one Devata. In English, they are called demigod. Right? So, these all Devatas are actually having, are all actually controlled by Krishna. That's why it's called Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is Parameshvara, which means there are so many Ishvaras. The Devatas are all Ishvaras, controllers of different universal affairs. To understand, universe has so many departments which you're not aware. They're all very subtly functioning. So the different, just like we get morning, daytime light, it's coming from sun, Surya Devata. He's one Devata. There is air blowing, Vayu Devata. Rains are controlled by Indra. Water department controlled by Varuna. There is a fire department controlled by Agni. Like this, there are different departments. So, these Devatas are all controlling different aspects of this universe. They are departmental heads. Why? Because so that the various arrangements in this universe which Lord has created can be managed in a proper way for the living entities' proper upkeep. Okay. So the living entities have to maintain their soul and body. Right? Body and soul have to be together. Means there's so many factors. There should be sunrise every day on time, and then sun, and later on Krishna says in Bhagavad, in the 15th chapter, the moonshine makes all the vegetables very juicy. Sun is going to energize so many aspects in our life. It's going to give us heat, light, electricity, which is required for our working. Like this, many things which Krishna has arranged in the material world. They're all under different Devatas. He has delegated them to be controlled by Devatas. So, these Devatas, when you do any yajna, as per the Vedic literatures, Vedic understanding, the different Devata yajnas which are performed are actually meant for finally satisfying Krishna. Every Vedic mantra of any Devata also begins with Om. Right? So finally the benefactor is Krishna only in that yajna. But there is recognition and acknowledgement of these Devatas. So, Prabhupada says, some of the yajnas are meant to satisfy particular Devatas, but even in doing so, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yajnas as the chief beneficiary. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam. Krishna says later on. Of all the different yajnas, from all different yajnas, he is the final beneficiary, Bhokta, enjoyer. Okay. So, basically, the ultimate beneficiary of all the yajnas is Krishna only. But these yajnas have to be performed the way it is prescribed in the Vedic scriptures. So, when you perform, basically, Krishna is trying to recommend here the Vedic process. The Vedic process of performing so many different rituals and yajnas as per the prescribed duties in the Vedic system, in the according to Varnashrama Dharma. So when this is done properly, there is balance of everything and things are all supplied in a proper way. There's a nice instance in Bhagavatam. Prithu Maharaj, example is given. During his reign, when he took up as when he took charge as the king, before him, the king who was there was not ruling as per the Vedic principles. The earth, Mother Earth had restricted supply of the necessary ingredients to the public. When he took over, again, because of his performance of various yajnas and activities, again, Mother Earth started supplying all the ingredients necessary for the human population. So this only shows how even there is a very wonderful harmonious relationship between the human beings on earth performing their prescribed duties as per Varnashrama Dharma, and the Devatas supplying the necessary ingredients. Again, they're not supplying on their own, it's all supplied under direction from Krishna only, but they supply based on some prescribed activities done by the living entities. So, basically, any yajna what the living entity performs is meant for the living entity's gradual progress in the path of liberation. Right? Prabhupada gives example of a one Vedic statement here. How when you perform yajna, even you offer food to Krishna, what happens? Ahara shuddhau sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddhau dhruvos smritihi. Smritir lambhe sarva granthina vipra mokshaha. Very nicely Prabhupada explains from Vedas. The performance of yajna, later on Krishna explains this in next verse. By performance of yajna, what happens? You have to offer some food to in the yajna. That becomes yajna shishta, becomes prasada of Lord Vishnu. So by this, what happens? The food becomes purified. When you eat this purified food, ahara shuddho, shuddha ahara if you have, there is purified food called prasada if you have, the sattva shuddhihi, your existence becomes purified. When your existence becomes purified, sattva shuddho dhruvo smritihi. Then purification of existence will make your finer tissues of memory become sanctified. Right? Prabhupada says this. Purification of existence, finer tissues of memory becomes sanctified, and when memory is sanctified, one can think of vipra moksha, think of liberation. Like this is a very nice, subtle way the whole material nature is arranged. When you perform yajnas for a living entity, especially human form, to move forward in his path of liberation. So this verse basically, Krishna is trying to tell that there's a very subtle activities working in the material nature with regard to the devatas being satisfied. Even if you perform Sankirtan yajna, there are examples. Prabhupada in his various leelas, he has mentioned once in London, Prabhupada was big hall, he was doing Sankirtan was going on the stage. And Prabhupada was looking at one corner and he was smiling. And he was very loudly trying to start chanting again and again after looking at one corner, in the almost at the far end in the ceiling. So later on, few devotees noticed that, asked Prabhupada, why were you smiling and loudly chanting Hare Krishna? Prabhupada said, we didn't see, Narada Muni had come, Lord Shiva was there, Brahma was there. Devotees, no, we didn't see. No, that's what happens. When Sankirtana is going on, all devatas come, great devotees come. So Prabhupada could see them. So when you are chanting Hare Krishna, all devatas have come to see you, what you are doing. That's what it means. When you're doing bhakti nicely, devatas will come and also want to participate in that festival. Just like in Brahmosava, the beginning, the first day of Brahmosava, which is probably going on in Bangalore, we invite all devatas to take part in the Brahmosava festival. We invite Indra, Chandra, Yamaraj, Vayu, everybody to come and participate in the Brahmosava festival. Tomorrow being the last day, we'll give them farewell and send them off. Oh, you were there for 12 days to attend the festival. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, go back to your place. So, this is an acknowledgement that devatas are present. Not that because I don't have qualification to see them, so they're not there. No, not like that. There are many wonderful descriptions in Bhagavatam mentioning how when Yudhisthira Maharaj was performing sacrifices, devatas used to come and attend those sacrifices. Right? And human beings from earth, at least in Dwapar Yuga, could would go to higher planetary systems. There was interplanetary travel. All this was possible, but because in Kali Yuga we have become very gross and sinful, all these things have all gone because we have got degraded. That's the problem. That's the point. So here, the whole point here is to make us understand there's a very subtle laws of Krishna working with regard to human beings, devatas, their interrelation, their harmonious way of working, and the supply of different ingredients, how things are happening. That's why devata worshippers, when they worship devatas, their results, the results what they want, their devatas satisfy. Why? Because devatas are also powerful administrators, and as per the laws, if a worshipper is worshipping seriously, sincerely, they will satisfy. And all that again, satisfaction happens through Krishna's sanction only. That is a different matter. Hiranyakashipu worshipped Brahma severely, so he got his benediction. There are many asuras, Ravana, Vrikasura, all these, they were demons. They worshipped Lord Shiva. They got their benediction. So it's not that devatas are not present or they don't have any powers. No, they have powers. And they are all endowed with powers. They are like empowered administrators, as Prabhupada says. Okay, so this is the understanding. This is the point here. So we have to recognize that there are personalities called devatas who are also human beings, but they are empowered human beings with some administrative powers of this universal management. It's like one among us only somebody would have become minister, right? But he is empowered to act as a minister, like that. The one who has got greater punya will be elevated as devata. That way. So again, devata is a post. It's like any minister portfolio is a post. Health minister is a post. Health minister by name, somebody will be there, specific person name will be there. Like that. All these posts are always there in the material world. Living entities, different living entities keep taking those posts based on their different elevation of punya. Right, let's move forward to the next verse. Verse number 12. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yagna bhavitaha tair dattan apradayebhyo yo bhungte stena eva saha. So Krishna says, like this, the demigods, once they are satisfied with performance of this yajna, sacrifice, they supply all the necessities human beings want. Because demigods are in charge of different departments, different various aspects of this universe they are in charge of. But those who don't recognize this, don't identify this and perform their activities accordingly, they are, Krishna says, they are actually thieves. Stena eva saha. Stena means thief. Krishna is telling us, actually not recognizing how this whole universe is functioning, how various aspects in the world is functioning, what is the purpose of the creation, what is my role, not understanding any of these things, simply living a life of irresponsibility is a life of a thief. Right? Prabhupada says, the purpose of human life is to understand that the Supreme Lord has created this whole universal arrangement, which is with various necessities of life, air, light, water, so many aspects, with different administrators to control them and manage them in the proper way. And we are all supplied with those necessities of life. And all these necessities of life are meant for what? To use them for Lord service again, for yajna. If you don't recognize this and exploit them and misuse them, use them for personal gratification, this will only further entangle you. more and more. And this will actually not serve the purpose of creation. The purpose of creation is what? It is meant to see that you perform activities for satisfaction of Krishna and you get liberated. Mukta Sangaha, not Karma Bandhana. That's the point. Right? So Krishna is telling us here that when we don't do this, we certainly become thieves. And therefore, we are punished by the loss of material nature. Prabhupada says, a society of thieves can never be happy because they have no aim in life. Right? Prabhupada says a nice story about these thieves. Once a group of thieves looted a bank and nicely, they were successful in looting the bank. They got a big booty, or running. After a long distance, they have run and come. And all of them stopped in a place, started discussing. So this money we have looted now, let us divide this money honestly. Looted money, but honestly you have to divide. So this is the material world. We are not recognizing Krishna, whose property it is. Claiming falsely it is ours. And it comes to, demarcation and different nations, all these things. Our country, you cannot enter our country because no visa is required. You need to, have permits. Immigration department. Prabhupada gives example of how in any one road now there will be 4 or 5 dogs. Together they are like friends. Any new dog comes to that road, these 4 or 5 dogs attack and chase that dog away. So this is called immigration department. Bow department, Prabhupada says. Which means the dogs think it's our gully, our road. Nobody can come here. Similarly, we have demarcated ourselves, our country, our state, our city. Nobody can come inside. And anybody comes, bow, chase them out. So, not recognizing whose this property belongs to, whose property it is. Simply trying to exploit things for our own gratification. That is called foolishness. That is called thievery, theft. That's what Krishna is telling us here. Understand that this whole creation is Lord's creation. Lord is the proprietor. Lord is the owner. And he's supposed to meant for his enjoyment. And the different devatas are only administering or rather managing this whole affairs on behalf of Krishna. And there's a purpose for this creation. Purpose of the creation is what? A chance for me to liberate myself from this material world, go back to spiritual world. If this purpose you don't understand and do anything and everything, whatever you want, then the whole purpose is not served. Right? Purpose of creation becomes useless. Because of which you get entangled. That's why you are entangled in karma bandhana. That's the point. So, Prabhupada says, people are right now simply directed to sense gratification. People don't know what to do, what not to do. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu introduced a very, very wonderful system called Sankirtana Yajna. Simply you chant Hare Krishna, slowly your mind will become purified and you will understand what is this world, what you are supposed to be doing. Right? All the purposes of what Yajna have to give you will be done by Sankirtana Yajna. Sankirtana is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So this is the point. So in this 4 verses what we have discussed today, Krishna is giving the importance of Yajna and how Yajna is from the beginning of creation, the purpose of Yajna and why we should perform Yajna and the universal arrangement with regard to different devatas functioning, recognizing that when you perform Yajna, all these things will come, we'll understand, and that way perfecting our lives, not simply leading a life of irresponsibility. That's what Krishna explains. And now from verse 13 up to 16, Krishna is going to give us Yagna Chakra, which we will understand in the next session. He says, Evam Pravartitam Chakram. Chakra means cycle. It's a cycle, Yagna cycle. The whole material world working. What is that Yagna cycle? Krishna explains from verse 13 to 16. We'll understand that in next session. I close here. Anybody has any question or any clarification? Any comments? Okay, no question or no clarification? Gupta ji?
No, Prabhuji, everything is perfect.
Everything is fine.
Perfect.
Very good. Chali, fine. So we close now. We'll meet again next week. Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.